Okay, hear me out. The Switch 2 was finally announced not too long ago, and within its enigmatic trailer was footage of a new Mario Kart game. It wasn't directly mentioned, so of course, we're left to wildly speculate, but we were given a few little nuggets of information, like Donkey Kong looking like a young Cranky Kong, or the stage that looks like the American Southwest. This is where you'd go on a retreat with a life coach to find your inner mantra or whatever. We also saw in the trailer that the races would now include 24 karts at a time, which is crazy. Imagine getting 24th place, you'd feel like such a loser.
Oh my god!
I would assume that Nintendo is going to want to beef up the playable character roster so that it's not always the same 24 racers each time, which led me to wondering just who they would add to Mario Kart 10, considering Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had freaking 48 characters already. So in this video, I'm going to wildly speculate about who will be included. And yes, I think they're going to pull a Windows and skip over 9. That might not sit well with the German audience, but then again, when are they ever happy with anything anyways? First, I want to start off with what I think are the most obvious characters, that being characters that were previously in Mario Kart games but were left out of 8. Nintendo probably thought that nobody would care about these guys, but remember when they left Starwolf out of Smash 4, only to unleash the full wrath of the furry community on their asses?
Can't let you do that!
Well, they ended up adding him back in for Ultimate, so I think the same thing could happen here. So let's go over the abandoned Mario Kart characters. Donkey Kong Jr. Donkey Kong Jr. was introduced in 1982 as a direct sequel to Donkey Kong. In that game, Jr. helps his father escape from the clutches of the evil Mario, well before Miyamoto decided to give our favorite Italian plumber the old villain redemption arc. DK Jr. really didn't appear in a lot of games after that, and since Donkey Kong Country, he's pretty much been written out of Nintendo lore. But he was a playable character in the very first Mario Kart game, Super Mario Kart. He was replaced in Mario Kart 64 by his son, Donkey Kong III, who has been taking on the Donkey Kong responsibilities ever since. I think it'd be great to bring back Jr. and hear what he's been up to these last couple decades. Also, maybe he could finally help us solve the mystery whether or not he truly is the elusive Fedora Kong. Paratroopa. Paratroopa only appeared in Mario Kart Double Dash, and presumably he was only added so that Koopa Troopa would have a partner. There are some notable Paratroopas in Mario lore, like Parakarry from Paper Mario, but this guy isn't even him. He doesn't even get his own unique name, like Todd or Paul or Chud. He's just Paratroopa. So, probably not the most exciting character to bring back, but hey, there's a fan base for everything, right? Rob. Rob the Robot is one of the oldest Nintendo characters. He was originally built as a peripheral device that would be used to play two specific NES games. Just look at him go. In reality, he was a marketing ploy to encourage department stores to sell Nintendo products during a time period where video games were considered a bad investment, but that's a whole nother story. Rob was brought back from the dead in Smash Bros. Brawl, and was added as a playable racer in Mario Kart DS, where he's remained ever since. I think a robot racer is a fun idea. It certainly makes more sense than Link visiting from Hyrule and spending his time getting really good at kart racing. Honey Queen. Remember this big bee from Super Mario Galaxy? Me neither. Well, she got her own character slot in Mario Kart 7, to the dismay of fans who would have preferred the scrapped Waluigi. In fairness, at least Honey Queen is actually a character in a mainline Mario game. Waluigi was only invented to be a partner for Wario in Mario Tennis. Also, technically, Waluigi was made by Camelot, not even Nintendo. So, I fully expect to see Waluigi as a boss in the next Golden Sun game. Hey, a guy can dream, can't he? Anyways, Honey Queen isn't exactly the most relevant character these days, but neither is Pauline, and they put her in both Mario Kart 8 and Mario Party Jamboree, so I'm just saying, someone, somewhere out there, must want Honey Queen. Yas Queen. Obligatory Yas Queen joke. For this category, I'm going to talk about racers that Nintendo decided to pull out their asses to inflate the roster. You know, like Baby Mario or Rose Gold Peach. Because it wasn't enough for her to just be Gold Peach, she had to be Rose Gold Peach. Basically, if you could slap a fresh coat of paint on an already existing racer and call them a brand new unit, You know Nintendo is going to do that shit. So here's my predictions for this category. Dr. Mario. We've already seen him as a clone fighter in the Smash Bros. Games, so why not make him a racer? I mean, he did have his own game once, so at least he's got credentials. And just imagine the backstory they could give him. Maybe he's like a Dr. Death kind of doctor, and the police are on his ass for medical malpractice, and he's racing to the airport before his passport could get revoked. Exciting stuff. Koopa Kid. To be clear, Koopa Kid is not Bowser Jr., but they could still use Jr.'s model as the base for this character. Kid was in the first couple of Mario Party games and served as Bowser's little buddy before Bowser Jr.'s character was created for Super Mario Sunshine.
I'm your mama?
After Jr. was born, Nintendo pretty much tossed Koopa Kid in the trash and pretended he never existed, like some prom night dumpster baby, or every show on Netflix after the first season. What an amazing comeback this guy could make, especially if he was racing against Bowser Jr. for revenge's sake, and to regain the love of Bowser once more. Shit Brown Wario. You've heard of Metal Mario and Rose Gold Peach, now get ready for Shit Brown Wario.
Oh yeah!
I think this is the next logical step in his character's evolution. I mean, it's been a running gag forever that Wario is a glutton who eats a bunch of nasty stuff and blows out his ass with these giant dirty farts. So I'm just saying, eventually, all that junk food eating is going to get worse, and he's going to completely shit himself. So let's just embrace it now, you know? Shit Brown Wario, get on board.
Yahoo!
Bowsette. Look, we all want it, so just let us have this, alright? And I mean, it doesn't have to be an overtly sexual thing. Nintendo's obviously known for its family-friendly image, but I feel like Bowser-adjacent things were always free game. I mean, this guy has 2 sets of kids from different relationships. We already know this guy is raw-dogging it everywhere he goes. So does combining him with Peach really cross the line that much? Mario Kart 8 wasn't the first game in the series to introduce non-Mario adjacent characters. That honor goes to Mario Kart DS, which brought in Rob the Robot. And since then, Nintendo has slowly been peppering in characters like Link from Legend of Zelda, the Villager from Animal Crossing, and the Squid Girl from that game where you splatter liquids all over everything. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's just called Cum. So Nintendo, I think, would be game for adding more of their existing IPs as racers. And here's who I think makes the most sense. Kirby. This is an easy one. Just give him his star from Kirby Air Ride and call it a day. Extra points for Nintendo if they give Kirby the ability to swallow a fellow racer and steal whatever item they might have. Of course, there would have to be a trade-off to balance it, like maybe Kirby is addicted to prescription painkillers and keeps falling asleep at the wheel, so if you aren't shaking the motion controllers enough, he'll start to veer off into a wall. Captain Falcon. Also a no-brainer. Falcon was one of the main racers in the F-Zero series, but hasn't had his own game since 2004, despite making numerous appearances in Smash. Like Kirby, I think he should have his own special move, and that would of course be the
Falcon Punch!
Imagine getting right up next to Waluigi or something, and then Captain Falcon just punches him right in the fucking face. That would just ruin his entire day.
Ow!
Blue-haired Fire Emblem protagonist. Looking at Smash Brothers as an example, we've got Marth, Ike, Lucina, Chrom, Byleth, and there's probably more that I'm not remembering. Now, Nintendo could just slap all of them in there like they did with the Koopa Kids, or if they want to be more efficient, they could throw all of these blue-haired Fire Emblem protags into a blender and see what comes out the other side. For this experiment, I'm going to use the magic of artificial intelligence and see what we get. Glorious. I will name it Micromelith. Micromelith is a prince from the land of Flarg and needs to race as fast as he can to get to the ancient sword before the Doom Dragon Fucksticks can destroy the world. If you've ever played a Fire Emblem game, you know this is lore accurate. Nintendo has shown its willingness to do partnerships and crossovers with other big IPs, even their competitors, so I think them adding third-party characters into the Mario Kart series isn't just a possibility, but an inevitability. Here's who I think they should pick first. Crash Bandicoot. This would actually be great because Crash already had his own Mario Kart-inspired game, so it's not uncharted territory. Crash isn't exactly a rival to Mario in the same way Sonic was, but he was still a staple of many 90s kids' childhoods, so I think he'd fit into the Mario Kart family well. Sonic the Hedgehog. Like Crash, Sonic also had his own kart racing game already, and he's been buddies with Mario since Brawl, with Nintendo and Sega seemingly over their feuding in the 90s. Considering how many spin-offs Sonic has teamed up with Mario for, you know, they should just do it. These two should just get married already and make it official. And then they should race each other, and then they should get divorced, and it would not be amicable.
Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead!
And then they could go back to being rivals again.
I found you.
The Just Dance dancers. You know those creepy white people from the Just Dance games? They wouldn't even need a cart, they could just dance around the racetrack at like 80 miles an hour. Imagine looking in your mirror and seeing this thing chasing after you. Bumper the Badger. One of the 10 playable characters from Diddy Kong Racing, this Badger already has experience behind the wheel. He also has experience behind bars. In an email newsletter from Rare to promote Conker Live and Reloaded, Conker himself suggested that one of his fellow racers went to jail. Later in a blog post, Rare confirmed that that racer was in fact Bumper the Badger. Later on, when asked about the status of Bumper, Rare replied that he has been out on parole for some time, and that he's superficially sorry for what he did, which is a hilarious way to phrase it. So we still don't actually know what he was arrested for, but I have to imagine it was probably tax evasion. He just sort of looks like the type, you know? But this is all a long way of saying that Bumper, now a free man, should take the opportunity to redeem himself in the eyes of his peers, and God, by joining the Mario Kart franchise. Now he can race for fun, and not because he's avoiding the police because he's a drug smuggler. By the way, that's my second guess. He may have been a drug smuggler. He also seems like the type. Now, admittedly, these choices are less likely, but I'd still like to talk about them and explain why I think they deserve a chance. Speed Racer. Speed Racer was first conceived in 1966, but don't let his senior citizen status fool you, he's still up for a good race. For those unfamiliar, Speed Racer was a manga turned anime about a boy who loved to race, and also occasionally a little boy and his pet monkey would hide in his trunk, and somehow he was always surprised by this. I like the theme song a lot, and I also like that the main antagonist was played by a young Elon Musk. Eventually, it was made into a film by the Matrix brothers, and I'm kind of afraid to even show clips of this because I don't want my viewers to start convulsing from seizures. I think Speed Racer would fit in well with the other Mario characters, and I especially want to see him shocked every time a rival uses an item on him. O.J. Simpson. Okay, hear me out. O.J. Simpson was one of the best quarterbacks of all time, so he'd probably go into the heavy class, along with DK and Bowser. Also, did you see how long he was able to evade the police? That's skill. Obviously, Nintendo would have to secure the rights to make him a little Ford Bronco to drive around in, so that might be cost prohibitive, but I think it'd be worth it. Coronavirus. Also known as COVID-19, and my rationale for this is because of how quickly it spread. Just imagine how fast it could go behind the wheel of a race car. Now these next ones are real long shots, so I thought I'd just include them as honorable mentions. Enjoy. And that about wraps up all of my predictions. Who do you think will be in Mario Kart 10? Let me know in the comments. Or just comment anything, because it's good for my algorithm either way. Anyways, thanks for watching.